So welcome to AbilityMKE Now. We are a show all about integration, bringing people with disabilities and people that don't have disability together in life here in the Milwaukee area. We all have different abilities, and here at AbilityMKE Now, we dive into this topic of diverse abilities. The concept of disability hits a wide range of possibilities. We could be talking about physical or mental disabilities, the deaf and hard of hearing community, blindness, chronic pain, mental health diagnosis, goals of substance use reduction, and the list goes on. We all have our own experience with disability, whether it's our own or with people we know or people we encounter in our daily lives. Here at AbilityMKE Now, we break down the barriers and celebrate the ability in all of us. I am so glad to have a wonderful friend joining us here tonight, and I have the pleasure of introducing Miss Debbie Hayes. She has gotten to be quite a good friend for, I don't even know now if it's just been over the last few months, but we have done quite a bit together recently, and I'm excited to share her with the world here. So Debbie, come on in, and why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, tell everybody all about who you are and what you all do, because it's something that I think a lot of people will relate to and enjoy hearing more about.
Okay, you want the whole story? I'm old, you know.
I'm in.
All right, Milwaukee. But I've been there, and it's very nice. And I grew up in Kansas. I went to the University of Kansas, actually, in phil ed, and believe it or not, special ed was just starting then. And went to graduate school for phys ed for the handicapped in Southern Connecticut, which is now University in New Haven, and taught school for a number of years. I've been in a number of businesses, and right now I promote immune health by supporting the immune system with the Coriolis versicolor mushroom. And no, it is not a mushroom to make you high. See, Sue's laughing already at my joke.
Not that kind of mushroom.
Yeah. So if you want a mushroom that's going to make you high, you have to go elsewhere. So, yeah, we work with pets. We work a lot with dogs, and that's where I come in as far as this show is concerned, because obviously service dogs, there are so many different types of illnesses, obviously military. I'm live in Southern Arizona now, so I hate to say it, but when I think of service dogs, I think of drug sniffing dogs. But there's just a lot of different dogs or different types of things that the dogs do. I just think that they need to be honored so much, and I love it when I see things on social media that I don't love it that they've passed away for whatever reason, but I love it that they're getting honored just like their fellow would who's actually in uniform.
Yeah, pets mean the world to us, don't they? I mean, every once in a while you may even hear, we have a dog. I love our dog. You may hear her in the background because, not paying as much attention to her while I'm talking here, but I can't imagine my life without her in it. And she knows I'm talking about her because she's sneaking up on me right now. And we want to do good things for them, right? We all want to make the best possible life for them. They rely on us, and we have to make good choices for them with what they eat, with their nutrition, with their exercise, all those things. And I know with what your company provides, it's something that is kind of a new thing, right? A lot of people, until I met you, I had never heard of this mushroom, and that as a supplement that it can have the health benefits that it has. So do you want to talk a little bit more about what those potential health benefits are, and And I know there's not like the FDA, there's not official approval, all that kind of stuff. But anecdotally, the number of stories I've heard, it has been enough for me to be interested. So, go if you can share a little bit more about that.
Yes, and I think it's so interesting that you talk about it being new, because the
Not
first,
right to me too.
the first recorded history of the Coriolis versicolor mushroom was in the 1300s in the Ming Dynasty. So yeah, neither you nor I were alive to verify that.
That was a long time ago. This has massive history.
Yeah, and they used it at that time on people, actually for what they called melancholy, which was depression. What I envision is that, because God planted this mushroom, obviously He knew that it was going to have benefits, but I have this vision that these guys, and this would have been in China, obviously the Ming Dynasty, were like noticing that their animals weren't feeling well, and noticing that the animals were drawn to this particular plant, and then wow, the animals they don't have that ailment anymore, so they decided that they should try it for themselves. I mean, that part is totally on me, that's just my imagination, but I think it makes sense.
It does make sense. And really, that's how people would know what was okay to eat and what wasn't, because
Right.
animals are able to detect things that we can't. Or, if they do make a mistake, then the people won't make that same mistake. If the animal got sick from something, then that would tell people not to go near it. So yeah, things were different back then. Yeah. But they also, if the animals knew what it was doing for them and they kept going back to it, obviously that should be that tip off too of, oh, maybe this is something that's really good.
Right. Yes. So this company started almost 7 years. It's been almost 7 years now, 6 years ago. And they started because the co-founders were sitting around one day and started talking about how their dog, one of them said, oh, I had to put down my 8-year-old dog from a catastrophic illness. And the others are going, wow, my sister, my cousin, a friend of mine, had a pet, the same thing. So it could be because of the food. Maybe, some of the food may not be up to snuff. But one of the co-founders, actually, his mother had taken some of the mushroom for a catastrophic illness of hers and had a very good outcome. And so somebody in the room said, hey, Simon, can't we put that mushroom in dog treats? And that's what they did. And my podcast yesterday was about a husky that I think was one of the very first, if not the first, to take the mushroom supplement. And what happened is her parents had taken her to the vet. She had autoimmune disease and other things that were wrong with her. She was a hot mess, as I say. And the vet said, yeah, she's 14. She's had a great life. You've treated her so, excuse me, so well that, well, you don't have to feel. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Sue.
You're all good. Yeah, that's take a moment there. You're all good.
Yep. So, where was I?
The husky.
What?
The husky.
The husky, right. So the husky, Zenta was her name, and they actually scheduled euthanization, took her home. These friends came over to say goodbye, but then at the same time they said, would you be open to giving her this mushroom? And so they did. And the fourth day, she jumped up on the couch. She hadn't been on the couch in years. And to me, the most poignant part of this story is that she sat there looking at her dad like, pet me, please. As one of the things was because of arthritis and other things that made her a hot mess. She would cower under the table because the other two dogs in the household were puppies. So, yeah,
Gee.
exactly. I mean, our dog that we had now, when he was a puppy and we had a dog that died at like age 21 or 22, we'd have to let him out at other times, at opposite times, because the puppy did not understand that when the older dog was running, it was because he was running for his life. It's because he did not want to play. The puppy thought, oh yeah, I changed his mind. Yeah, that's so anyway, an aside. Anyhow, yeah. So obviously she was seeing positive results at the end of the 4 days and continued to see positive results. They ended up taking her off her prescribed medication at the end of the first month, actually. And she lived another 4.5 years.
I just think that is stunning.
She was almost 20 when she passed away. She had an accident. It wasn't even anything medical.
Wow.
And there's another husky that they call her boyfriend. and he passed away just this last summer, maybe even in the fall, at age 22.
Wow, I don't know that I have.
And they had introduced him
for a dog.
They had introduced his human parents to the product also.
Oh, I love great stories. That to me, that always touches my heart when I hear good success stories, things that are positive, things that have made a difference like that. And I know you mentioned earlier, there's a lot of people out there that have service dogs or emotional support animals, or different animals are a different thing for different people. We all have our choice of pet for whatever our reasoning is. Some people, I actually have a friend who he has a service dog, and that dog makes a big difference for him. Things like, okay, he's actually a wheelchair user. He can't just bend over and pick something up off the floor, right?
Uh-huh.
And that he literally can't do. But the dog can, and can hand it to him. I mean, things that we take for granted. He can't open the refrigerator door because the leverage it takes to open that door, he just can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But the dog can. They've got something tied up to the handle of the refrigerator door so that the dog just grabs that, pulls on it, boom, the door's open. He can do that.
I hadn't heard about that. That's great. I think the one that I think is the most miraculous, and maybe somebody will have something different to tell me that'll be more miraculous, but the dogs that can sense when a seizure victim is going to have a seizure, so that they can alert that person to be in a safe place. I just, oh my gosh, I just think that is incredible.
I wish I understood that better, because I've heard of that too. I know there are dogs that are able to sense different types of medical conditions like that. And what an amazing godsend for a person to be able to have that, and to have that support, and to have, how do they sense that? I wish I understood that better.
I know.
What a difference that makes for the person. And I think about something like this, the choice of food we give our pets, the choice of whatever nutritional anything that we give to our pets, what a difference that makes. I mean, we're responsible for that choice, right? Our dog can't make that choice.
Yeah, exactly.
So to take the time and actually look at because I actually have done that. I know when we got our dog originally, I'm like, I don't know anything about dog food. I had to do a lot of quick study to figure out, why do I want this one or that one? Because there's a lot of them. So why am I choosing the one I'm choosing? And it's hard to know, right? There was a definite learning curve.
Yeah.
Or I could have just said, I'm just going to go get whatever's cheapest. I could do whatever. We have that choice, right? Yes. But that is something that I took seriously because I need to do the best I can for her because I expect it's a two-way relationship here, right? I'm pet mom, so
Right.
she relies
Yeah.
on what we're giving her. That's what she has. So I want to make good choices. So it's amazing.
You're gonna make me confess, huh?
Uh-oh. Confess. Uh-oh.
Well, when I was introduced to this company, I was one of those pet parents that was buying the least expensive dog food.
You know, and I'm not judging. Think about what you're doing now.
Right. Yeah. And the difference in just 1 month, the difference was just incredible. I mean, things like he used to get me up like between 2:30 and 3:30 in the morning, and every morning. And I just thought, well, his biological clock is telling him he has to go to the bathroom because I'd let him out and then I'd give him a little bit to eat. And now I realize that food must not have had any oomph, it wasn't filling him up. And that's why he was waking up. So now he sleeps. He still gets me up early, but not any place, not in the middle of the night for sure. And respectable time. Wasn't scratching anymore. I thought, well, I thought he's just scratching. I didn't really pay that much attention to it until he wasn't doing it anymore. And he probably had some kind of an allergic reaction or, something. So there were other things too, but I am so thankful that I switched, and he loves the food and loves the treats. So
I said the word out loud. I'm wondering if her ears perked up. She
Oh,
knows
right.
that word, which
I
is
know. After a while, don't you feel like they learn how to spell too?
Oh yes, absolutely. And I actually read recently. There's, headlines catch me. I caught a headline about how many words a dog knows, and
Okay,
there are studies that show that they can know up to 250 words.
I read 300.
You read 300, and I think it also had a stat in there that I think it was a collie. I think that they said knew was the Guinness record or whatever record they had listed there, like 1,100 words that dog could recognize.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Our pets are hard to give them credit for sometimes, I think.
Think of all the bookkeeping or whatever that would, if you're going to be in Guinness World Records, that you'd have to go through to get it substantiated.
I can't even imagine. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And Confessions of a Dog Mom, for a very, very, very long time, we had the 2:30 wake up calls too. It's only been in this past year now. She's almost 4, and it really has been just in this past year where she's, knock on wood, usually sleeps through the night. But yeah, for the first couple of years there, I was dealing with the same thing though, like 2:30-ish.
Yeah.
So, and it makes me wonder, is it really something is it food related? Is it she had too much sleep during the day and now she's like, I need to go do something, or maybe she just had to go potty, or I don't know. It makes me wonder what that change is now.
Yeah. Exactly.
I never know.
So getting back to service dogs.
Sure.
I forgot to ask you if you had the capability, if I sent you a picture of putting it on here. So I'll tell you about it, and if you could, then the next time we'll do it. So I have a connection on LinkedIn who is a public service information officer at a police department outside of Boston. And one day he posted the handler for one of the service dogs. I think from what I gathered from the caption, the dog is more like an emotional support type dog, like maybe, I don't know, I thought maybe going in on if there was a domestic dispute or something, I don't know. But so the handler was like right there, so saluting, and the dog was like this, saluting, like sitting up on his haunches. I just think it is the cutest picture.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I sent it to Zach Clayton when I did his 22-hour podcast last week, and he had it on there.
Oh, I love that. That I definitely would like to see that picture. And actually, you mentioned Zach. Want to just that was an impressive thing that he did last week. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Haven't known Zach for very long, but my understanding is that he's done that. This is the third year. He has a nonprofit to support veterans, and the reason it's 22 and the reason it's always done on February 22nd is because of the previous number of veteran suicides in the United States was 22, and tragically, of course, that is much higher now. But yeah, there's no day of the week for the amount how high it is now. So I guess he had to stick with the 22. But yeah, he had his sponsors came on and guests came on and had 20 minutes to talk about whatever. We talked about service dogs. That's why I had the picture of, I'm not sure, Iamon. I'm not sure how to say the dog's name correctly because it's an unusual spelling. It's not something that I'm used to. But anyway, it was. I was very happy about that. So Zach, that's his main income for his nonprofit, as far as I know. Do you know?
Actually, I'm not familiar exactly with the details. I know he actually was a guest on here probably, I bet it's been a couple of years now. He used to come on every so often, and now I believe he actually does a show of his own at the same time. So we haven't seen him on here for a really long time, but love him. He's wonderful. He has a heart of gold. He's doing so many good things.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, I'm still not clear exactly how his nonprofit is structured, but I do know that he is in the business of helping veterans, which is really important to me, I think. And the service dogs as well. I mean, you figure they both sacrificed for the rest of us for our freedom.
Yeah. I actually have a friend of mine that, well, I should say an acquaintance. I know him a little. I don't know him a ton, but he's a veteran. And when he was in the military, he was a dog handler. And their job was to go out. It was in another country. I can't tell you where because I don't remember the detail and I don't want to repeat it incorrectly, but they would actually go out and the dog is sniffing for bombs. Basically, they go out and make sure that the path is clear for those that are coming through after them. And I soaked it up when he was telling me this months ago that he was sharing some stories and showed me pictures and all these things about what the training was like, how many things, all these different tasks that he and the dog had to do together every day to keep up on the training, literally day in, day out, because there's no room for error. The dog is out there to do a job, and that was, I think the world of them, of him and the dog and the relationship that they had. And I can't even imagine how close of a relationship you'd have with the animal. I mean, not a pet, but a working relationship. And they rely on each other 100%. And that's where the relationships we have with animals is just amazing. A huge variety. And I know some people think I'm weird, but in my past, I've had pet rats, which people either absolutely get it and are like, that's so cool, or they just cringe and say, you're nuts, because it's not unless you're familiar with them, it's not your first thought for a pet. But gosh darn it, I've told it many, many times that when we had those rats, it's like, they're like little dogs. They really are smart, and they are if you train them, they can be very, very human focused and so much fun. They're smart animals. I've learned to respect them a lot, and it's fun. Everybody has their own different take on pets, and that's where I love the idea that we have options out there and that there are things that we can do to help our pets to make them be as good as they can be.
Well, I think I had told you before that I have a customer that had pet rats or has pet rats. And actually, I haven't called her for a while. I need to talk to her and find out how she's doing. But so what happens with the mushroom is that it actually boosts the immune system so that the body can heal itself. But that really applies to animals or humans who are sick, or if they're well, they might take them so that they don't get sick, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she actually bought the pill for humans that is a capsule so that she could open it up and give them some of the powder because she wanted them to live a good long life. They didn't have anything wrong with them, but she was just she was very conscientious and looking after their well-being.
I love it. So I want to make sure we let people know where they can find more information, because this is something, like I said, for me, it was something where I'm a researcher. By nature, I'm a science geek. That's my full-time thing. I do science, and I always have to look things up and figure out all the ins and outs. And so anybody who's interested in more information with this particular product that you're talking about can be found online really easily at debspets.com. So that website again, Debs Pets, DEBS, because this is Debbie we're talking to, so it's debspets.com. So information is there, so you can find out what the heck we're talking about, and it is it's a great thing that I've gotten to know you so well in the last I don't even know now, several months. It's been over a year.
I don't think it's been over a year, but I mean
the 12 o'clock shakedown where we get to
that's true.
Do that as well. I know we've mentioned that on the show before, but 12 o'clock shakedown, it's literally 15 minutes of music and motion, and it's kind of fun, isn't it?
I think so. I have exercise goals actually through my life insurance company, and I get things like get my Apple Watch paid for if I do a certain amount of exercise and stuff. So if I'm not going to the pool, I like to get on 12 o'clock shakedown so that I can boost, because if you're doing exercise with a group, you're going to do it better than if you're doing it on your own. You're going to work a little harder. It is a very low impact program, but I still know that I work harder than when I'm doing it on my own.
Yeah,
and the thing I always tell everybody about it is it doesn't matter what your ability or disability is. If you're on there, if you watch Sue and you see something totally different than what she's actually doing, and you're doing this when she's doing this, whatever, then it doesn't matter. I mean, it's definitely a no blame exercise.
It's to be fun. It literally is to get moving and have that accountability to come back every day. That's part of it with me too, because I don't know that I would. That's a big piece of my exercise, which it's not a lot, but it's something. It's something.
Right.
It keeps me moving. So Deb, it has been so much fun having you on here today. Debbie Hayes with Deb's Pets, and this has been such a fun time. I always love having a chat with you. So thank you so much for being here tonight with AbilityMKE Now. As always, we will see you next time, and we thank you.
Recording stopped.